I'm Nick Seco from HomeRight Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState with Tiny and Katie.
Let's talk TriState.
Welcome back to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by HomeRight Windows and Doors, the right choice in Waynesboro, winner of the 2024 Best of the Tri-State. One of our favorite guests who joins us every month, we have Donnie Souders, who is the mayor of Smithsburg, letting us know all of the events and things that are happening in the town coming up here for the spring. So first of all, how are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
Great. I saw you were taking vacations. You're all over the place.
They're mini vacations. So at this point in time, instead of trying to draw out a 5 or 7 day trip, it's usually just on the weekends.
That's a good way to do it, not to brag, but I'm turning 40 in September, and I just finished this past weekend hammering out all of the details. I'm going to Machu Picchu for 2 weeks. We're going to go to South America.
Wow.
And so we just booked all of the trains and the tickets, and then I cried when I saw my credit card.
Yeah, I didn't get an invitation to that, so I guess we'll all have to, celebrate your birthday from here.
Just live vicariously.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Absolutely.
So we'll definitely be looking forward to all the pictures that go on social media.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a flood of photos showing everybody how amazing I am.
Was this someplace that was always on the bucket list?
My goal is to hit all 7 continents by the time I'm 50.
Okay.
So I've been to Africa, Australia, Europe, obviously North America.
Right.
South America I have not been to. So I felt like this was the next big one in line for my 40th.
Okay.
45, I'm going to Thailand, so I can knock out Asia. And then probably either, I might have to extend that from 50 to 55 or 60, like retirement, to do an Antarctican cruise. Antarctican cruise, is that the way you would say that?
That's how we're going to say it today.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so, because those are quite expensive.
Wow,
and so
look at you. Okay.
My goal is to hit all those continents. So when I looked into South America, obviously there's a ton of places I wanted to go to, but Machu Picchu, I mean,
yeah, you can't. You remind me of me. So I went through, after my divorce, I did the same thing. I was like, so what I was going to do was try to hit different places on my birthday. Like, I didn't care. I just didn't want to be here for my birthday. And then the pandemic hit, so then that kind of stopped that. So it hasn't materialized the way I thought it would in my mind, but still like to get out and go places. So I think I'll be in like the Chicago area the week of my birthday. I'll be working for my other gig, not as the mayor, but it will give me an opportunity to go see a different part of the country. So,
and I'm a travel, like I have to travel. Yeah. I have to have things on my list. But anyway, so that's what's going on with me. Tell me what's going on with Smithsburg, because that's really why we're here today.
Well, it's, now that in theory it's supposed to be spring and warmer. You said about vacation, I was in Tampa, it's 90 degrees every day, and work on the tan, and then you come back here and it's like, ugh. So just spent the past weekend binge watching shows and never leaving. But we are getting to that time of the year where there's a ton of events that are going to occur. So Smithsburg's no different than a lot of our other small municipalities or towns throughout Washington County and the tri-state area. So we've got a plethora of things that are coming up. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was, I'm sure everyone has seen, if not, they should Google search Candy Blessing, who is a Smithsburg resident, who just recently participated in the Special Olympics World Winter Games over in Turin, Italy, and actually brought home 3 medals. So,
amazing.
Yes, she won a gold medal in the 100 meter I think it's called shoeing.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When they have the big skis on,
Yes.
and they have to go through the snow. Yes.
So she won the gold in the 100 meters there, and then she won 2 silvers, one in the 200 meter, and then one as part of the relay team. So the town of Smithsburg, in conjunction with the Washington County Special Olympics, I think some members of the county government will be there. On April the 29th, we're actually going to do a celebration at Town Hall for Candy, proclamation ceremony, all the whole thing. Even that day, April 29th, will be in honor of her. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make sure that we got that out there, that we're extremely proud of Candy and the work that she's done. I didn't know that she's been involved with Special Olympics athleticism for like 3 decades, I believe it was.
Wow.
So every time she challenges me to a race, I'm glad I never accepted, because, I thought, it'd be okay. She would have blown me out of the water.
So you know her, you've met her before.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep,
That is quite an accomplishment.
Lives right near our firehouse. You can see her and her mom on a spring, summer day, sitting out enjoying the traffic going through town.
Good for her.
So she is quite the local celebrity and well-deserved.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll be looking forward to doing that in April. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, we're like every other municipality. When the calendar turns to where it's a warmer weather, we're going to start doing some more events. So I think we've talked about in the past our Third in the Burg, which is our events that we do every third Saturday,
yes. Mm-hmm.
starting in May, and then it'll run until October, November-ish, depending upon how the weather looks. And our first one is always a music and arts festival that's downtown. So that'll be from 12 to 4 on May the 17th. That'll be the first one. There'll be vendors, crafts. There'll be, I think they've got like ring dancers and fire dancers and all kinds of different things that'll be right there in the square that day.
And that's, I'm assuming, free to the public.
Free to the public. So we want folks to come out. We want them to explore Smithsburg, see what we have to offer. Hopefully get them to come back on a second visit, third visit, fourth visit, or even move into the area. So, it's all part of the Economic Development Commission's drive to promote downtown and actually to promote the area of Smithsburg as a whole. So hopefully if you've got some time on May 17th, you can come down, like I said, between 12 and 4, visit the square, see some of our shops, meet some of our local business owners, and partake in one of our Third in the Bird events.
And every time you do this, is there a different theme for each
There
one?
is. It's a great question. Wow, look at that. It's almost like we've done this before, right? So the one in May will be, like I said, an arts, music and arts, and then the one on June the 21st will be a Celebrate the Burg. And that's going to be where we're trying to recruit like local musicians, almost like a talent show downtown. So we want to get people from the area that have unique talents to come in, participate, again, from 12 to 4 on the square in downtown Smithsburg. And, we want to have like a little battle of the bands, maybe battle of the singers, almost like an America's Got Talent kind of vibe to it. So
I'm assuming karaoke is something that you could do, come and sing and perform.
I am sure they will allow it.
Okay.
So is that something that we might see you partake in?
I'm a terrible singer, and I'm not saying that to be humble. I have zero singing ability. There's actually, there was a rule that I couldn't sing at certain hours during the day because clients come in and they would not enjoy what they would hear. But I love karaoke because the song that I always choose to sing is Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire.
Okay.
And people don't care that I can't sing because they're so impressed that I know all the words.
Yes.
And it is quite a performance.
Now, who's got the newer version? Somebody just redid.
Fall Out Boy.
Okay.
It took me like 7 years to learn Billy Joel's version. I'm not even going to try with the Fall Out Boy version, but it is quite impressive because there's a lot of words.
There is.
Rapid fire.
Yes.
And people just don't care, like, oh my gosh, she's such a when I start, you can tell they're thinking, oh man, that's a terrible voice. But then a minute in, they're thinking, yeah, this girl's got it.
She's got it, yeah.
Look at her go.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for opportunities to perform.
Well, good. Well, maybe by the time I get here on the next visit, I'll have a little more specifics on it.
All right.
But if karaoke's there, I expect and anticipate that we'll see you there.
I'm happy to do it for everybody.
But no, those are the kind of, it is themed. We'll have a car show in July. So, we try to change the theme up, again, because everyone's got a different taste.
Yeah,
they want
like
different things.
Something for everybody.
So we're looking forward. August, we're going to do a block party. So we'll just shut it down and have a big giant party.
Fun.
And then I think we'll do another cider fest in the fall. Mm-hmm. So, we try to tie in different themes associated to the different times of the year. Mm-hmm. And then also try to meet the eclectic, personalities of everyone in the area because not everybody likes the same thing.
And then is this going to be, are these your big events for the summer, or is there like a...
Smithsburg's got a ton of different other events. These are the ones that are sponsored by the town and part of our Economic Development Commission. But we'll have our Smithsburg Days, which is the first weekend in June, always at Veterans Park. That's a private group that puts that event on. They'll have a band there on Saturday night. They'll have fireworks that go off. So it's a really big vendor fest. It is.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows Steam and Craft at the end of August, early September, depending upon the number of weekends. That's where we'll have over 10,000 visitors in the Smithsburg area, and it's all Steam and craft or Steam tractors. That is what the draw is, and then there's over 200 vendors that set up for that weekend.
Wow.
So, and that's all at the fire station in their field where our carnival is, which is typically the last weekend of June. So in that same area, we'll have our Steam and Craft and then a parade. And
so many things just bring the community together. I love that.
Yeah, there is. And when you're small and you're competing against Hagerstown or Frederick or some of the other bigger towns, you've got to find that niche. And our Economic Development Commission, all of our volunteers, and even the committees that we aren't involved with as far as the Steam and Craft or the Smithsburg Days, really go out of their way to put a lot of effort in to come up with creative ways to get people in.
Sure.
And like you said at the very onset, it's free to the public. Most of the events are free to the public. There may be some charges depending upon what type of events. Like the carnival is going to have a charge, of course, but most of the other events are all free to the public.
Yeah, just bring the family out, walk around, and then if you see something, because there'll be, I'm assuming, vendors and artisans, and you can purchase different items.
Yep, we'll do vendors. There's always food trucks or some sort of food variety there for you, whether it's actual food or ice cream or some sort of, again, for the whole family. So we're really trying to get people to come explore Smithsburg. They know of it, but we're off the beaten path. We're not on 64, so you got to kind of have to come off of that to come into Smithsburg. But we've got some of the best parks. We definitely have the best schools in the county. So, anything else that we can help draw people into Smithsburg, and like I said, get them to come back, second, third, fourth, fifth time.
Move in
would be great.
Smithsburg is a cool little town, but you are right. It is off the beaten path.
It is.
You need like a reason to go into the town, but once you go in, it's like, wow, this is such a hidden gem, and there's so much to do there. It's a cute little town.
Yep. It's, like I said, it's great. It's got some history, of course, with the Civil War. Smithsburg at one point in time was a makeshift hospital, because we were in between the skirmishes of Gettysburg, Antietam, and the surrounding skirmishes. So it's got some, cultural history as well. We're not that far from the Appalachian Trail, so we do see some hikers that'll come in that make that long jaunt from Maine down to Georgia that kind of hit that portion of it, and then they'll sneak into Smithsburg for a little bit. But we're growing. We're looking to continue to grow in the future, and these events, I think, help facilitate, hey, like if I'm going to move in, what's here to do? We hear that in every community that you move into, like I said, with our schools and our parks, and now with some of these themed events, we think that we can really capture those people that have never come to explore, shop, or even live it.
And then the last time we spoke, there was a writing competition.
Correct.
And it was if you could be mayor for the day. Did you choose the winner? How did that go?
We chose, his name is Finnegan Minnie. So he's a Smithsburg Elementary School student. And the way that'll work is he will come in on May the 6th and actually open the meeting, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then he'll be able to read his award-winning essay. This year was by far the most essay submissions that we had. So I visited Smithsburg Elementary, Old Forge Elementary, and actually went up to Cascade Elementary.
Right.
And we'll be now making the rounds at the end of May. So we'll have our winner come in on May the 6th, who is a Smithsburg resident, lives in town. So he'll come in. There's some other tokens and appreciations and certificates and awards that he'll get that evening. And then we'll go to the other two schools and present everyone with a participation. I know everybody hates the participation awards.
I mean, if you took the time to write, the essay, I think there should be some recognition for it.
So everyone will get some sort of certificate. Everyone that participated at the one at Smithsburg Elementary gets a gift card as well. So we really try to, and it's always fun to see the different kind of responses you get, whether it's they all want a pool, they want, some sort of fast food establishment.
I'm sure something for lunches that are ice cream for lunch every day that's free.
Yeah, ice cream for lunch, but we get some really unique ones, whether it's combating homelessness, whether it's finding homes for pets. So and I read them and I love them, and I sit there and go, man, I wish I had that kind of power.
Yeah.
As a mayor of a small town. But it is a great little essay contest. You, being a former educator, can probably appreciate when they participate and want to get involved and actually. Like I tell them, there's every once in a while some of those suggestions actually make their way through.
Yeah, you said that the last time.
And those things can materialize themselves in the community, and that's when you can sit there and go 50 years from now when you're driving through with your grandkids, go, I did that.
Yeah, so, it's powerful for kids.
It is. It is very powerful. And like I tell them, maybe there's a future mayor, council person, governor, president sitting in one of those rooms that decide to go ahead and follow their passion and get into politics and try to help their community.
That's really great. Donnie, before we wrap up here, what are some other things that you want to cover that's happening in Smithsburg, or did we hit all the high points?
Well, I mean, that's the good stuff, the fun stuff, like I said, the enlightening stuff. I mean, we're like every other municipality this time of the year. It's budget season, so we're working on our budget. I believe the last time, or one of the last times we were here, we were talking about we had a vacancy in the council due to an untimely passing of one of our council members. We have filled that position, but then we had another resignation here in the last 2 months. So we'll be actually doing interviews this week to start looking to fulfill that. But really, it's the budget and just trying to get through. If anyone's paid attention, the state of Maryland and all states across the country. Now that the federal ARPA money has now kind of washed its way through most budgets, it's really getting back to, okay, how do we manage what revenues we bring in versus the expenses that we have? And unlike the federal government, in Maryland, we are required to have a balanced budget every year. So we can't run deficits in municipalities. So you have to be at least net neutral, or you can have a surplus, but you cannot run a deficit budget in a municipality in the state of Maryland. So it is trying to, balance that between the needs of the residents as well as the long-term planning for those things that are coming down that you don't really plan for today, but you have to anticipate in the future.
I remember, I don't know if it was Smithsburg or another town was working on the water pipes. Was that you?
Yes,
and
that was us.
I remember we were talking about it, and Tiny said it perfectly. It's not the sexy part that you want to talk about. I thought that was a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and that's the thing, right? So, in my administration over the last 4+ years, it's really been a focus on the infrastructure, the stuff that people don't really think about.
Yeah.
Now, we have done some really good. We've added 2 additional police officers, full-time officers, and promoted part-time to full-time. So this is probably the first time in my time in the council where we've been, I wouldn't say fully staffed, but we're much more staffed than what we've been in the past.
That's great.
Yeah, and then we've added, like I said, almost $500,000 in new playground equipment through our 2 parks. But then we've also invested close to about $1.5 million in that water and sewer infrastructure that people don't talk about, that hopefully will drive down costs in the future.
Absolutely.
So, we're one of those unique outlying municipalities where we purchase our water from the city of Hagerstown, so we're a customer of the city. And then our sewer is treated by Washington County. So we don't really own or manage our own systems. So, and water bills just went out, and that's always the worst time of the year for myself, the elected body, and then staff, because then you get the complaints about the water rates and things. And so we're looking at alternative ways to maybe drive that down in the future, but it's not going to be a quick fix or an easy pill to take.
But you know that it's on people's minds, and
Absolutely.
you know that it's something that needs to be addressed, and you're working to do something about it.
See it every quarter on Facebook. We about a year and a half ago, we went through and looked at a device that could attach to everyone's water meter that was a smart device that would track your consumption. A lot of it's consumption. It's we do have, look, the system's old, so every once in a while you will get leaks that come through or anomalies that pop up. And we try to work with our customers as best we can when we have those. We just recently had 3 residents come in. One was a business owner that had very high water bills. So we're trying to work with them on that. But at the same time, a lot of folks don't realize that, water is a consumption, as you use it. And sometimes you don't even think about how you use it until you get the water bill or you see the spike in your water bill for the quarter. And then you're like, oh, so that toilet that I hear running at 3 in the morning, that actually cost me money? Yes. Or we've had people that didn't understand that the outside spigot was part of the system. It wasn't free water and during the summer they're letting the slip and slide run, and then they get a high water bill, and you have to educate. So part of it is just educating that it is consumption. Most of it is how you effectively use your water. And then, on the flip side, you have residents that don't hit a minimum. We have a minimum of 6,000 gallons at where the starting point is for your bill. And we've got to share residents that don't hit that 6,000 are still paying what the minimum is. So it's trying to find that balance of consumption versus rates, and trying to continue to improve our system so that hopefully we can drive down cost in the future.
Well, good for you. That is not a job I think I would want to have.
There are great days and then there's other days, but I'm sure as an educator you had those same ones. The last day of school was probably your best day.
It was my favorite, and right before Christmas break, that was one of my favorites as well, and spring break as well.
I would assume though that most teachers, if you asked them to give you an honest, like if you could put the Wonder Woman lasso around them, they would tell you the first day of school has got to be in the top 3 or 4, right? Like the exuberance of, this year, I'm sure it's like with a lot of other jobs that it's not the same every day.
I think it depends on what your class list is like, if you have a heavy hitter or not. The thing I did love about the first day of school is that's when the kids are the most well behaved.
Correct.
That's when they are the most, or they're testing you. It could go either way. But I personally don't like change, so I was a panicked mess every year on the first day of school. I would say one of my favorite days is when we got closer to like October, when we were close to Halloween. Everybody's in the groove, everybody's still in their best behavior, they're still trying to make a good impression. The fall is coming in, the turning of the leaves and the weather. And then after you come back from Christmas break, it's like game over. Everybody's too comfortable. And
that's usually when everyone's got the number written on the chalkboard of how many days left.
Right. Or how many minutes you're going to spend, inside losing recess because of like poor behavior.
Poor behavior. So.
Yeah. Anything else going on with the town of Smithsburg, Donnie? Before we wrap up.
No, I think we've done it. I'll be back. I'm sure. Here in a few weeks or months, and we'll have some more updates on some of those.
Perfect.
Back-end summer events and going into fall, but we are busy in Smithsburg. We've got a lot of things going on, so I would encourage people to come out and partake and enjoy what we have to offer.
Where could someone, do you know the website where?
So yes, you can go to www.visitsmithsburg.com. That's got a lot of the events that we talked about here, or of course they can go to townofsmithsburg.org to get the larger planner and event calendar for not just the Smithsburg events, but some other things that are in and around the area.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, Donnie, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
It's Let's Talk TriState, all powered by the DRB Group, the right partner for your real estate development.
Let's talk TriState.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TriState, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.